It's Friday, April 17, and this is your Barbados Today Evening News Update. We get started with news that Barbados has recorded no new cases of COVID-19 for 2 consecutive days. It's the first time since the first 2 cases were diagnosed on March 16. The Ministry of Health and Wellness reported today that out of a total of 65 tests carried out on Tuesday and Wednesday, no one tested positive for the viral illness. Acting Chief Medical Officer Dr. Anton Best welcomed the development as a good sign, but warned citizens they could not become complacent. He stressed they must continue to follow the public health advice to stay indoors as much as possible, limit contact with others, practice proper hand hygiene, and maintain physical distancing. Some 965 tests for COVID-19 have been conducted since February 11, 75 of which have been positive. 5 Barbadians have succumbed to the illness, 15 have so far recovered, and 55 remain in isolation. The news comes as Prime Minister Mottley gets high praise from the World Health Organization's Director General. During a COVID-19 press briefing, he noted her leadership in the Caribbean's fight against the pandemic.
I also spoke to the Prime Minister of Barbados and the current chair of the Caribbean countries about the challenges faced by small island developing states in gaining access to test kits and other supplies. No country should be left behind. And I would like to use this opportunity to appreciate the strong leadership by the Prime Minister of Barbados steering the response in the Caribbean.
In other news this Friday, a former murder convict who was part of an infamous prison break in 1991 with the notorious Winston Hall is dead. 56-year-old Denzel Orlando Roberts of Cave Road, Titchbourne, St. Michael, collapsed while at Sky Mall, Hackett Hall this morning. Police Public Relations Officer Acting Inspector Rodney Innes told Barbados Today Roberts was pronounced dead on arrival at the Queen Elizabeth Hospital around 11:05 a.m. Roberts, who had avoided execution in the 1990s, walked out of Dodds Prison a free man back in June 2017 after more than 3 decades in jail. Retailers have agreed to give the new alphabetic shopping system introduced under the extended curfew at least another week to work. Word of this from President of the Barbados Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Tricia Tannis, following a meeting today with nearly a dozen supermarket owners about the new system. She expressed concern about the long lines and the fact that some shoppers had to be turned away. She suggested that authorities may have to add a few more hours.
The retailers thought that we should give the system a chance to work first before recommending any further changes. I think they thought that, because of the pent-up demand over the last, few days with the bank holidays and so on, that, some degree of in terms of the response was anticipated. And there was a general agreement that we should wait until the second block for each group were exhausted before we actually came to any definite conclusions as to whether or not, there were any issues. But I can tell you, certainly one of the most fundamental things is that we certainly will need a few more hours in the day to be able to service the crowds.
One local philanthropist is not letting COVID-19 stop her from providing daily meals for dozens of people in need. Sharon Bellamy Thompson, the founder of Fishers of Men Charity, revealed the demand for her feeding program is at an all-time high because of recent sudden job losses. This week, Bellamy Thompson, a fish vendor, was spotted distributing food to the homeless and needy people in Jubilee Gardens, as is her custom. She told Barbados Today it's her Christian duty to reach out to others.
This is something that I have been doing for probably close to 30 years, but for the last, I'm still doing what I am supposed to do for all the years. So COVID-19 was not a big difference. The only difference that I have seen is that I'm feeding more people than ever.
And when you said that you're feeding more people than ever, would you say that, talk to me about, you're on the front lines, you're on the ground, how has the need increased, or the people in need?
Yes, there are so many people in need at this time. Not only do I feed the poor, I do a lot of other charity work behind the scenes. Like where I live, there are lots of people who have a lot of kids, and mainly my charity is about children who, like, for the last 3 weeks or so, I am sure that I have given away over 100 and something hampers to poor families who's really, really in need.
Some of those who benefited from Bellamy's Thompson's kindness had nothing but praise for her work.
For the last 4 years, Siobhan has bought food every morning, not just for me, but for other immigrants. She won't ask where you're on the streets or anything, because she knows that everybody end up on the street for certain reasons. Every morning, Siobhan comes over here and feed everybody. Every morning, I mean every morning, Sunday to Sunday. Through storm, we had to there's all kinds of things. Even through Siobhan has come over and done everybody.
So next time you are working, you come here and Siobhan will be very nice here. Treat you very good. A very nice woman. I ain't seen right now. I seen a boy like she's feeding on the street. To be honest, a real nice woman.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Barbados Today, news you can trust.
In regional developments, more than 38,000 Trinidadians have reached out to the government for help in the face of the COVID-19 outbreak, which has dealt the economy a blow. More from Rainessa Cuttin of TV6 News.
It's just a snapshot of the toll that COVID-19 has taken on TNT's labor force. It's been just about 1 month since various COVID-19 measures have been implemented, and already at least 38,000 persons have had their incomes negatively impacted.
This number has been updated all the time, but this is the last figure I've received: 4,161 hand-delivered applications. Online, 34,000. So that we have at this time in the vicinity of 38,000 applications that are currently being evaluated.
And these are just the initial numbers. Finance Minister Carl Mimbert says government is prepared for more than twice that figure. But if things go south, they're prepared to do what they must.
As we see the applications come in, I may have to go to Cabinet or consult with the Prime Minister if it is not necessary to do it at the level of the Cabinet and see how many we can accommodate. We've set aside $400 million for this, which really is about 90,000 persons. And we may in fact be dealing with more, but as the numbers come in, we will deal with them.
Further afield, the Chinese city of Wuhan, where the coronavirus originated last year, has raised its official COVID-19 death toll by 50%, adding 1,290 fatalities. Wuhan officials attributed the new figure to updating reporting and deaths outside hospitals. China has insisted there was no cover-up. Wuhan's 11 million residents spent months in strict lockdown conditions, which have only recently been eased. China has confirmed nearly 84,000 coronavirus infections. That's news, but for the very latest, visit our website at www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, or like us on Facebook, and sign up for our breaking news alerts via WhatsApp. We're also on Izumi Media and bus terminals, as well as screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. You can also hear us on Mix 96.9 FM and Capital Media HD 99.3 FM.